Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. That was disappointing. The Sixers just get blown out by a trash Detroit Pistons team, and there was no Joel Embiid. So this is where I'm torn. It really doesn't matter how they play without Joel Embiid, because if you look at the ultimate goal, the only way you have a damn chance is if the MVP of the league, that's right, the MVP of the league is available and ready to play. Does it really matter what this team can do if he's not there, if he gets injured, if he's not on the court? Like, it really has no relevance whatsoever, because it's not even like you have a legit chance at all. So realistically, this 0-4 record without Embiid, it doesn't mean a damn thing. With that being said, I don't think it's fair to sit here and watch putrid effort. They got destroyed on the glass. They got destroyed when it came to just working hard. The work ethic wasn't there, and that bothers me. And yes, I am pissed off with Ben Simmons. Flat out sucked. Not good enough. Those fouls, they are horrendous. There's no reason to pick up that third foul on Blake Griffin playing the way that he did. There's no reason for him to pick up his fourth with 7+ minutes to go in the third quarter when he was actually helping this team gain some energy and go on a nice run. It's ridiculous. It's poor play on Ben Simmons' part. It's the lack of awareness. It's the lack of IQ. It's not, oh, the refs put him in foul trouble. Hell no. He put himself in that position for the refs to call it. It was bad out of Ben, and it annoys me. It really does. That is not good enough. I need Ben Simmons to be a better player when Joel Embiid is not available and when he is available. But nights like this infuriate me, because there's no reason for him to be that out of touch and that out of sync with what he was doing out there on the floor. It was just bad. You know, when he took another three-point shot, and guess what? It came up so damn short. So let's factor in all of the most recent three-point attempts. Air ball, and almost an air ball, but it just nicked the side of the rim to make you feel a little bit comfortable about it. Oh, whoop-de-damn-do, Ben. He kills me. He really, really kills me. Then the whole T side of things come up when he got to the foul line, right? Because Josh Jackson, this bum, decides to call him a bitch, which, you know, to each their own. I mean, you were a legit bust. You were expected to be significantly better. As much as I can't stand Ben Simmons right now, Josh Jackson, you're a loser. Like, you were expected to be way better than you are. With Ben, like, this is telling you a lot when you break it down like this. We can't stand Ben Simmons, but he is 10 billion times the player you are. Mike Scott in a polo is ready to get after it. You could just see the difference in the two teams. The entire Sixer squad was ready to back up Mike Scott, while not one soul on the Pistons was near Josh Jackson, because they know this guy's probably a loser, and, well, their whole locker room is filled with losers, and they are a losing organization, and their team blows. So it's just funny to see the two perspectives, but I digress. Ben Simmons going to the free throw line in that moment, miss. Ben Simmons came up small. And I keep hearing all this, well, all you got to do is lower your expectations. No! It's not my job to lower my expectations for a player like Ben Simmons, who we saw dominate late against the Celtics, who we saw dominate late when he needs to in the last 2 games. Why should I lower my expectations when I know it's in there, when I know he is capable of doing it, but doesn't do it enough or at a consistent rate? That's not fair to me. It's not. It's not fair to Ben Simmons himself. It's like he's lying to himself. Shame on him. But it's also not fair to me or anybody else who sees what he is actually able to do and what he puts out there on the floor. It's a disgrace. It really is. It's doing the game of basketball a disservice, because if he was able to legitimately put together a solid, productive game night in and night out, we'd be talking about arguably one of the most exciting players to play in this damn league. And it's a shame because we are not getting that. So that's kind of where I'm torn, right? I know I somewhat got distracted towards the Ben Simmons side of things, but in terms of this team not looking like a competitive team without Joel Embiid, it shouldn't matter, because if you're looking at that goal at the end of the season and you want to go win a championship, it all is on Joel Embiid. So if he's not there, it doesn't really matter what this team looks like. At the same time, you shouldn't go from a team that looks like they can win a championship and fall to a team that had 3 wins prior to this matchup. Like, they look just as bad as the Detroit Pistons do. There's got to be something in between, and it comes back to Ben Simmons. He is good enough to put the team on his back against the dumpster fire squad. But you put yourself in those positions to get into foul trouble. He had 3 fouls in 7 minutes of play. That's no one's fault but his own. What is he doing? How can it possibly be this all the time? He's out of control. Not just what he was doing defensively. He fell for a pump fake for Blake Griffin's pump fake, who sucked tonight, by the way. Blake Griffin, he's ass. Whatever he was a couple years ago, I don't know if it was the injuries or whatever, but he blows. He's not a good basketball player. Yet knowing you have 3 fouls, knowing the team needs you, 4.5 minutes into the third quarter, you're jumping at a pump fake and he's drawing a foul? It can't happen. It's unacceptable. Like, how, dude? How? How can you be so unaware of the situation? It's ridiculous. And I'm losing my damn mind. I really am. 3 fouls in 7 minutes. While you had Wright and Ellington going off. Danny Green had some tough moments defensively. They combined for 10 threes, while the Sixers couldn't buy a damn bucket. Seth Curry had a tough night at the office. Dwight Howard, holy shit, was he brutal. Early on, I didn't know what he was doing. They're trying to work him in offensively. The ball's flying all over the place. Stiff. His plus-minus was -23, while Tony Bradley gave you +8. I think that told the story on who should have been able to be, or who should have got their number called more. Dwight Howard was abysmal in this game. He had no clue what he was doing. He was lost. Well, here comes Tony Bradley grabbing some boards and producing a little bit offensively. Night and day for the big men. Doc Rivers essentially waved a white flag early. I'm out of here. Threw out the bench. Here's the bench. Now, he's done that a couple times this season. He seems to be an early white flag guy. But it's also a statement. You're going to give me no effort? Okay, I'm giving up too. Although I don't know what type of message that is from the head coach, as if he's giving up. But, it's sort of like, you gave me this. I'm giving this back to you. If you're going to be horrible, if you're going to be pathetic, well, then here you go, end of the bench. Get in there. Go ahead, go fight. At least you'll fight. At least you'll give me effort, because you're competing for your lives. Because you don't get many opportunities. So here you go. Have at it. Show me something. At least you'll be working hard. At least you'll be diving on the ground for loose balls. At least you'll just be giving maximum effort, because I know everybody else didn't. That type of statement, which is a lot better of a statement than, the coach giving up on them, which, I don't blame him. I really don't. Tobias Harris is the only guy out there giving it his all. He finished the first quarter with about 12 points, 5 of 7 from the field. He was the only reason why you were there in the early stages of the game, and he was the only one to really leave it out there on the floor. There was one segment in the game, one section in the game that I was energized for, and it was Matisse Thybulle and Blake Griffin going at it. You could tell Blake Griffin was getting pissed. He was shoving Matisse Thybulle with two hands underneath the basket, and Matisse Thybulle was somewhat laughing because he got a couple steals on him, and one led to a beautiful solo slam the other way. You could tell that he was getting on Blake Griffin's nerves. Sadly, that did not continue for a long period of time. I wish that was something that was drawn out forever to the point where, it was a storyline throughout, but eventually that died out, and the Pistons kind of took this game for a ride. And every time the Sixers somewhat made a bit of noise and cracked into the lead, well, they gave it right back up with putrid defense and with the Pistons hitting it from three. Jeremy Grant ended up responding from his bad performance, although you got to credit what Ben Simmons did to him in Game 1. But this game almost diminishes what happened in Game 1, right? They held on, and Joel Embiid was a big part of that, and so was Ben Simmons late. But when you follow that up with just terrible play, how great can you possibly feel? Here's the counter to that. If you beat the Lakers on Wednesday, does anyone really look back at this loss and say much about it? Probably not. That's reality of the situation. If you take care of business and handle business against the better teams, I don't think it really is discussed to the same degree, let's say. By the way, we are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. You get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. Now, I credited the Sixers and the message being sent to Embiid, Simmons, Tobias when they played in this first game against the Pistons because it was a second game of a back-to-back. They played the Boston Celtics. They had emotional wins. Embiid was dominant. And then they played a game against the Pistons where you would normally see this organization sit down Joel Embiid and pretty much chalk up the loss and load management, but they played and they won, and I credited everyone involved. It was Tobias, Ben, and Embiid that were questionable before the game, and this is coming off of a situation where Joel Embiid landed on his tailbone, and he was uncomfortable and in some discomfort, so I was actually stoked and happy to see him take that next step from a leadership standpoint, from an MVP superstar standpoint. He made the message clear. I'm going to play. I'm going to battle through it. I'm going to play. We're going to win this damn game, and they did. And now he doesn't play the following game. So what I was excited about, while it had value in the moment, now that I see what occurred a couple days later where he sat out due to the back stiffness, does that somewhat cancel it out? Should I be as excited about that moment, that leadership moment that I was so proud of? Is that already somewhat washed? Because at this point, well, he sat out the following game. If he played tonight and then played against the Lakers, now we're talking about a stretch where it really shows me something. At the same time, do these games matter? No, not really. These games don't matter. So I'm just trying to find a balance, and I'm trying to, look at this logically. Joel Embiid is going to need to have rest days. That's just reality of the situation. That's reality of the NBA. So at some point, he's going to have a load management day, even if they put him on the report with back stiffness or whatever they claim it is. It's not what it is. It's, hey, let's get the guy some rest because he's been carrying this team and dropping 33 points during the last week or so. And that's why he was the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, because he's been on a total tear. So it's going to happen. But just coming off of a game where I was really looking at it as a positive, that he'd battled through the back stiffness and the tightness and the discomfort, so close to that game, it somewhat takes away the power a little bit. The Sixers got out rebounded. The free throw disparity was insane for Detroit. And you're normally not on that side of things when you're the Sixers because, well, you run your offense through the big man. So that naturally allows for you to get to the free throw line way more than your opponent. But that wasn't necessarily the case here. So if you think about the compete level by the Pistons, the execution and the actual drainage of threes, and the way that they played with some swag and with some style, they deserve to win this game. Do you just chalk it up and say it's one of those, you got to find the balance, right? You really do. You got to find that middle ground here. It's somewhere in between pissed off that they can't win without Joel Embiid and realizing that it doesn't matter how they perform without Joel Embiid because it's not relevant to the success of this franchise. So where do you fall? Where should it fall? That's an interesting question. Tyrese Maxey had some points. I'm looking at some bench guys and what they were able to do when this game got out of hand a little bit. Tyrese Maxey, he has some moments where you realize that, okay, this kid is a rookie and he's showing you those glimpses of a bit of youth, right? Just his age and how young he really is. You see those. At the other side, though, you see some fantastic stuff as well, and you see some versatility. So you just got to allow him to continue to grow, gain some experience, play against these guys, even if it's a bum squad in Detroit who had 3 wins entering the night. It doesn't really matter. Just get him out there and play him as much as you can with NBA experience. But there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be some hiccups along the way, and I think you're kind of seeing that flow throughout the last handful of games and throughout really the stretch since everyone returned from the COVID-19 list, whether it was the contact tracing or the positive test in Seth Curry. You've seen some up and downs out of Tyrese Maxey. Same with Shake Milton. I think you see some strong moments out of Shake, and then there are some iffy moments out of him as well. I think he can get back to a more consistent player where he is firmly being your 6-man that is a difference maker in games. I think over the last handful, it hasn't been to that level. For example, last game, he didn't score a bucket at all, but then at the end of the third quarter, he closed out the quarter well with a 2-point bucket going to the rim for a nice layup, and then he hit a 3-pointer in the fourth quarter, which allowed the Sixers to kind of take control, and that started the force for the Sixers. So I'm not acting as if he had 0 moments, but look, there's times where he gives you 20 plus off the bench and he's a walking bucket and he's knocking down threes at will, and he's so versatile, and he's working that pick and roll game, and he's able to really explode and finish with both hands. You see a lot out of Shake Milton, and then there's some games where it's Shake's not on it. And, that's the difference in being a legitimate starter, being a 6-man, being a bench guy. Your bench guys are normally not as consistent. If they were, they would be a starter. But look, I'm looking at Shake Milton. I'm looking at this 6-man role that they want to groom him in. And I think it's, reasonable to look at him on a night-to-night basis and really see, okay, that was good. That gets the check mark. That gets a passable grade. And then another night, all right, I need more out of Shake. If this team's going to be more consistent and string together wins, I think you're going to need more out of Shake Milton. So something that I look at each night when dissecting this team is Shake Milton's play specifically, because he's an important role player who's going to have the ball in his hands, who's going to be primary ball handler, who's going to run the point and run the offense. So I expect a decent play out of Shake Milton. All right, let's hear a word from my sponsors over at DraftKings. Pigskin fans, the moment you have been waiting for all season is right around the corner, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55, is bringing back their golden ticket giveaway with up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter DraftKings' free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. And if you have the most predictions correct, you could win the top prize of $1 million. Download the app, enter the free prediction challenge, answer questions like who will score last, and boom, get ready to make it rain. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code Brodes to enter the free $55 million Super Bowl prediction challenge. Everyone gets an instant prize up to $25,000 just for playing. So use promo code Brodes now and enter the free $55 million Super Bowl challenge only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55. Terms, conditions, and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. All right, let's get to the Anytime Hotline. I'm super excited to hear from the people. Real quickly, before we dive into this, I have been thinking about starting something new with Sports Talk with Brodes, and I want to get your thoughts. So if you can comment down below, I'm super stoked to kind of hear your thoughts. So everyone knows how addicted I am to coffee, right? I talk about it all the time. I drink 10,000 cups a day. I'm a walking caffeine body machine. All I do is intake caffeine. So much coffee, it's crazy. I was thinking about implementing some sort of live stream, maybe on my social media platforms. You can follow me on Twitter, specifically at Brodes81, where every morning, we hang out, we talk, we shoot the shit, we relax, we talk sports while I have my first cup of coffee for the day. And I'm thinking about working out like a addition to Sports Talk with Brodes, where it's like a morning show outside of the Sports Talk with Brodes post-game podcast. I really want to get your thoughts because I have so many ideas rolling through my brain right now. I think it'll be really fun. So just something to think about. Would love to hear your reactions to that. All right, and speaking of reactions, you know the deal. The Anytime Hotline call. I don't know where this is going to go. Are people going to be okay with it because of the circumstances? Are they going to be mad because of Ben Simmons? So many directions. Let's kick things off here.
Well, we were duped. We were duped for 2 games into thinking this guy was back to normal. But he's not. He's not. He saw 3 fouls in 7 minutes. 3 fouls in 7 minutes. I mean, I get Embiid's not playing, but they're the worst team in the NBA. You have to be able to win a game without him. It's ridiculous to watch. This guy's not stepping up to the plate. Blake Griffin was literally guarding him under the rim. It's embarrassing to watch. I can't take it. I can't take it.
I'm right there with you, and I think a lot of this fan base is right there with you. Now, I had someone tweeting back at me. I was going to say back and forth, but I wasn't really giving him or her the time of day. When I tweeted out Ben Simmons has 3 fouls in 7 minutes, or if we talk about Ben Simmons being underwhelming and not playing the best, well, he's in foul trouble. What do you expect? Excuse me. Am I going crazy? Or is he in foul trouble due to his own poor play? He put himself in foul trouble. It's no one's fault but his own. That play on Blake Griffin, why are you defending him as if you had 0 fouls? If you had 0 fouls for that third one I'm talking about, I would acknowledge the aggressiveness defensively and, trying to set a tone, trying to set a message. You're telling Blake Griffin, hey, I'm here all night. But when you already have 2 fouls, what is the purpose of getting up in there like that? You're playing stupid. You're making bad decisions. And then don't even get me started on the fourth one. One of the reasons why Ben Simmons had the night that he had was because of himself, getting himself into foul trouble. It's no one else's fault but his own. So you can't say the only reason why he had a bad game and was sitting on the bench was because of that. Well, that's a big part of it. That's why I'm frustrated. Because he put himself in all of those foul trouble situations. He's out of control. You saw what he did at the start of the third quarter. There was energy there. There was a momentum switch. Whether it was a steal, which led to a fast break, or it was just the offense rolling, him passing out for 3, him taking a 3. There was an energy change. And guess what happens? He fouls, and now he can't play the same way. It's just bad basketball out of Ben Simmons. It really is. It's bad basketball. All right, what do we have next?
Hey, Brodes. I'm very pissed off on how they played tonight. They could have played so much better tonight. I'm very upset with their performance tonight. Just because they had no Joel Embiid is inexcusable for them to lose to a 3-13 team when we still had our top 2 out of 3 players in Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. I thought that our defense was horrific tonight. I thought our bench needed to get more power, and we look lackadaisical in our defensive rebounds. I mean, the Detroit Pistons were just getting rebounds left and right on offense. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I remember one stretch where this was one possession. There's 4 Sixers somewhat in the paint, and there was maybe 3 Pistons, and the ball just kept clanking off the iron, going to the Pistons, kicking it out, getting a shot. They rebound the basketball. They kick it out. There was a loose ball. They're diving on the ground. They're on the ground, still passing it around, kicking it out for 3, and they eventually find a way to penetrate the lane and get an easy 2. It was nonsense. It was constant rebounding in that stretch I'm talking about right now. And yeah, and that all comes down to will. If you're not willing to grab rebounds, you're going to put yourself in a tough spot. And if the other team is, it all comes down to who wants it more. And it was obvious that the Pistons wanted it more. And that's where, I have an issue is I can understand having a flat night, having a night where the threes don't really fall and where it's not your best basketball. I know we don't want this to happen as fans, but we've been watching sports long enough where in a long season, in a 72-game season, you're not going to have your A-plus night every night. Clunkers happen. But I just don't know how you go from looking worse than a 3-win basketball team without one man, and when he's available, everyone screams that this team could go win an NBA title, and their ball movement's outstanding, and they're stellar with so much spacing. It's crazy that one man, and I'm not making it seem like, a team that loses Kevin Durant, or a team that loses LeBron James, or a team that loses Giannis isn't going to fall significantly, because yes, the nature of it tells you that they will not be the same team. They will not be able to get the same goal accomplished. But I also don't think the Bucks without Giannis becomes worse than the Detroit Pistons. Am I missing something here where these teams fall to this insane level where they don't even look like a competent NBA team? And I think that's where everyone gets irritated, because the big extreme of a drop-off is like, yo, fellas, it should not be to this level. I saw Doc Rivers really, really feed into the team early in this game where it kind of was getting run away with by the Pistons. He was pissed. I mean, he was giving it a good screaming match, a good how do you do to the team, because he was not satisfied with what he was seeing, and deservedly so. He should feel that way because it was that much of a trash performance. But, it's telling when your coach goes out there and gives it to that level.
Ben Simmons a bitch.
Is that it? That's it. That was it. Wow. What do I say to that? It's kind of hard to disagree with that right now, but I'm definitely not one of those. But I'm really not a fan of Ben Simmons right now. But is Ben Simmons a bitch? I guess it's hard to argue against it. I hate that I'm in this position. I really do. I saw a Ben Simmons that I fell in love with the last 2 games. In moments. It wasn't the whole game. Last game, it was just the first half when he was giving you those 16 points, and then it was just the last minute where he was getting fouled and walking up to the free throw line. That wasn't even a Ben Simmons I used to fall in love with. That was a new Ben Simmons, confidently walking up to the free throw line and drilling things. But you saw his defense late. I mean, it was amazing. But then you get these, and these, they don't happen. When you talk about great players in this league, hell, even all-star players in this league, the amount of times it happens to Ben Simmons, it's just multiplied by way too much. Guys have off nights. This happens to Ben Simmons way too much. Way too much. And this whole narrative that you got to lower your expectations because he's not a scorer, it's full of shit. It really is. It's full of shit. It's nonsense. It should not be that way. We should not be lowering any sort of expectations on Ben Simmons. We should be holding him to the fire more. We should be demanding more. Because if you just allow this to happen, that's silly. It's sort of like if your dog pisses and shits all over the house. Do you just allow for that to happen? Well, you know what? I'll just say it's okay. I'll lower my expectations for this dog. If he's going to piss and shit, then so be it. He's allowed. I'll allow him to do it, because if I actually hold him accountable for things, I don't know if I'll get the results that I want to, so I'll just lower my expectations for what this dog is going to be. Is that what you're doing with Ben Simmons? Because to me, that's nonsense. It really is, and I can't accept that. I can't.
Hey, Brodes, big fan of you here, man. His name's Keegan from Ocean City. I'm trying to get in the sports broadcasting business. I'm only 21 years old, but watch that Sixers game, and it really shows that we do need a star, whether it be in 2 to 3 years. But without Joe on the floor, we haven't been good this year and last year and years past. We'd love to have like a guy like Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine out there who can put up 25, 35 points a game when Joe's out, because as we know in the past and right now, Joe is unhealthy all the time. And it kind of stinks, but we'll see what happens this year. Best case scenario, a little side note, Tyrese Maxey's an all-star in 2 years. Thanks, man.
Yeah, the Tyrese Maxey thing, I think he's got an awesome skill set. It's just going to take time for him to really grow. And you just look at the body structure out there. He's got a lot to learn from a physicality standpoint and putting on muscle mass and adding to that side of the game. And not only his actual, his skills and growing in that area as well, it's really about, I think, his physical feature too. That's going to have to be boosted up a bit. Embiid not being able to go, to me, this is all load management, and I know they're going to tell you that it's back stiffness, and sure, I think there's something to it. You did see him take a hard slam and a hard fall, but this doesn't concern me. It's not like, hey, Joel Embiid's going to be out for 3 weeks with a knee injury or 2 weeks with a knee injury or a foot problem or anything like that. If we start talking about those type of injuries, then yeah, I'll be on your side of, hey, we got to be concerned with Joel Embiid's longevity here and if he's going to be available. If it's something like this where he's out for one night or out for a random night here and there, that's the nature of the league, right? So now I'm thinking about what you said about 2-3 years. We need a star. This is a problem. We should be demanding Ben Simmons to be that star. And to get that star, you might have to give up Ben Simmons, which you're going to lose defensively. You're going to lose some playmaking ability if you do get rid of Ben Simmons, but the payout can be right, and it can be beneficial. Zach LaVine's where I kind of draw the line. I don't know yet if I am sold on getting rid of Ben Simmons for Zach LaVine. I like who he is, but I don't know if that's the difference in going and winning a championship, as much as I'm not going to be all lovey-dovey and foaming out the mouth for Ben Simmons' defense and playmaking. It's still valuable. And he still does it to this extreme level, so you got to find the right trade offer and exactly what would help this team. I think Bradley Beal would do that more than Zach LaVine. The Zach LaVine thing, it's just, I don't know. I'm so iffy on giving up a talent like Ben Simmons for a LaVine. I just don't know if that's the right deal. It would have to be more involved. It would have to be the right pieces involved. Something about Zach LaVine, I'm just not sold as much as I was on a Harden at one point once it got to the point of me being on the Harden deal or a Bradley Beal type deal. This one, it just doesn't move the needle to the same degree, but I don't know if he's going anywhere. I think Doc Rivers wants Daryl Morey. I was reading some reports during that Harden noise and during the Harden trade rumors that there were offers on Daryl Morey's plate. And if Doc Rivers went in there and was like, you know what, I'd rather have Ben Simmons, well, guess what? That's the direction they were going to go down. And I think that absolutely happened to the point where Doc wants to keep this guy because he values what he does and thinks that there's a winning formula with him. I don't know if that'll happen in the playoffs when things really matter, but that is one of my concerns. Yeah. I'm absolutely concerned about that. All right, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes. I love doing these. It's so much fun to break down this Sixers basketball squad, win or lose. I do need to tell you about Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. They are dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly by using high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. Their solar program eliminates your electric bill completely. They also offer water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, tree removals, electrical upgrades, and more. So visit their information. It is down below in the description. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.